Hey guys, today we're going to do an account-based selling session with Chartloop. So let's dive in. So we have a framework that kind of spans three sections of doing account-based sales. Account-based sales requires taking large accounts typically and treating them like a market of one and building a strategy specific to that account, different messages for different people within different layers of that account. And Chartloop makes it very easy to identify them and build your plan. So I'm going to have this divided on three sections. One is the planning phase. How do you get into the account, land it in the first place? The second one is the expansion. So, okay, we already have some sort of a deal. And the third one is the review. So let's jump right in. So what you're seeing here is I pulled up for you an example of the engineering department at Adobe. So obviously to get started, you would come in here, put in the account you're looking for, like Mongo as an example. You'll be then prompted of what department you want to choose, and then you hit create and it will populate within a few minutes. This one is already pre-populated. Now Adobe engineering is a massive department, right? If I pull up here the review, we see there's almost 4,000 engineers in this department. If you want to get the full view of an account with any of your companies, you would come here right at the top where there's a company name, and here above the delete company button, there will be a button that says full depth. It's a premium feature, so you can be in touch about that. But looking at this department, so where do we start? Where do we begin? Where do we end? It's a massive organizational chart. So what we would do here is we would use the filters, right? So I can be using, first of all, the search by name. So I could be looking at VPs and then quickly zip through the different options of vice presidents. It highlights them. That's one way. But even an easier way is if I go on and use the geography. So for example, in this, for this example, let's focus on the Germany engineering team for them. So for example, we already have a small deal with somebody in the Germany team. So for example, Thomas Merck here is the general manager for Germany. I'll mark him here in orange since he's kind of our decision maker and both champion, right? So I'm gonna call him our economic buyer, right? So that's where we started. There's about 50 other people in the Germany team, but how can I build strategy around that? So what I would do here is, so if I were in a department, right? So this is the Germany department for Adobe. I would press on Shift and select the names that I want to choose. And I'm going to create a deal board, right? A board where I'm going to have all the people relating to my deal, maybe existing people, and then I'll be adding some more new ones here. So I'm going to take the whole team here in Germany, press Shift, selected them. Now I right click. It gives me the option of adding them to a custom board. So I click on that, add to a custom board, and I've already pre-populated a couple. So I have one for Hexagon deal board, I called it, where I have this Germany team, and I'm going to be adding some other stuff there too, right? I click on save. Now if I go to that board, so if I go here to the top, right, I have the different departments that I mapped. So for Adobe, I've mapped out the engineering and the C-suite, which is relevant to me. And then I created here a deal board, right? So I could see for my Germany deal board, I have here Thomas Merck, who's the champion there, who we already have a deal with, and then some of the other team members. But now I want to expand beyond this. So what I've done here, in this example, I want to expand and now win over somebody in the New York team. So now what you can see is that I've added here three different sections. So the first one is the Germany team, which we already have there, right? We have a deal, so I highlighted it, okay, green, and we had there the champion. But now we want to expand to New York. So I've pulled in here several people from the New York team, which you can see if I focus only on the New York team, there's about 100 engineers from that geography, right? And I created different colors highlights for them. So I do the colors by doing a right click and then choosing different the colors for them, and I put them there. And lastly, what I did is I've also added a few people on the higher ups from the C-suite. So specifically, I added here the CTO, several other VPs and directors. So that's what you can see here on this whole this whole right side. So what I've created here is a really comprehensive deal board where I took there's 4,000 people on the overall Adobe engineering team. I took my existing deal that we have right now is within Germany. Next on our target is this New York team, and then also a little bit more of higher ups, right? CTO, some VPs, and now this is me building my account-based strategy. So, for example, in New York is going to be more of like a bottoms-up approach of maybe reaching out to either it's middle managers or individual contributors, and then for the C-suite is really going tops down and really dialing into their biggest business initiatives and challenges that Adobe is facing on their engineering team and trying to sell in our solution. So that's a really effective way of building your account plan. Now, I want to share with you a few specific strategies around this, which we outlined. So we had three different sections. The first one is the planning phase. So what you saw, right? We created a deal board, combined different departments, right? It could be totally different departments or C-suite plus a different department, which is relevant. And I built color coding and action tags, right, to kind of define our action plan. And then questions that we use to ask in this type of phase. So, what are the account priorities? What's the biggest business pain that the business or department has? Can we sell into that initiative? And then how do we tailor now our proposition for every stakeholder, right? If I reach out, if we're calling on the CTO versus calling in on an IC engineer, totally different message, right? Also, who are some enemies? So I'm sure there's some other people we pitched in the account and they've not been helpful, not really interested. How do we go around them and do build support? So that's in the landing and planning phase. The next phase is more the expansion, right? So that's what we saw with this example of, okay, we already have a beachhead in Germany. This is he's our champion. We have some sort of deal there. How do we use them and kind of leapfrog into maybe other sections? For example, this New York team that we're trying to expand to. Now, questions the way that I would do this is, first of all, mapping out the whole account and then finding the relevant people, right? So within Adobe, this is a massive account. So finding, kind of doing biz dev to expand, and then asking very specific questions. How do we, cross sell? How do we protect our deals, right? Should our key champion leave, right? Because everybody does change jobs these days pretty often. So that's what we would think for expansion. And then lastly, this is a little more for the upkeep and for the team is reviewing this, right? So maybe doing an internal quarterly business review, showing, okay, here's where we're holding with the account. Here's what we won. Here's who's really, here's our champion. Okay, we need more champions, or we're too concentrated in one area. We want to get into a different region or geography. Work with teammates on that. How do we protect this from competitors coming in? How do we find more champions? So those are questions that we would be thinking at for the review stage. So that's a quick session on account-based selling using Chartloop. Hope you're very successful with your account-based sales.